Hey, this is Lotus Comics, and I have the pleasure to be with Robert Smith, which is an EFT coach, with a life-changing coach, basically. He does EFT. Let's tell me a little bit about yourself, sir.
My name's Robert Smith, and I'm a coach. Basically, I teach people how to take control of their life, eliminate fears, phobias, knock strokes off your golf game, free yourself from whatever it is that you have internally that holds you back. You can heal your body, eliminate physical pains, just about anything that affects you emotionally or internally or even physically, just the structure of how and why we have problems.
Okay, for a lot of people at home that don't know what EFT is, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, I use a process. I started out with traditional EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, and from my experiences studying NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, EFT, a lot of other processes, I created a process called Faster EFT, which basically has a belief system that there are no broken people and that we are internally creating our problems somehow. And so I've taken a lot of concepts, physical processes that actually what we do within ourselves and how we create our problems and how to create changes. So I use Faster EFT, which is a self-empowering tool. It also, you can use it to, like I said, knock strokes off your golf game, get rid of fears and phobias, headaches, you name it, it can change your life because it really deals with the mind-body connection. So basically, understanding how we internally represent our life and how we do to ourselves,
Well, tell us a little bit about maybe the coolest experience you've ever helped actually change.
Well, there's so many, some pretty amazing changes, some of the pivotal changes in my life that I've worked with people. A guy came in who had severe nerve damage in his leg. He had like 13 angiograms, had morphine patches, and so he came in for a session, 2-hour session, and by the end of the session he had no pain. He quit smoking, had a lot of emotional issues from his past divorce, and still to this day the pain has not been there. It's gone, completely gone. He came in, showed me all of his doctor's work, showing that he's going to have pain the rest of his life. That's a pretty big one, Some other ones, it's like an everyday thing, but you can take somebody who has a limited belief about themselves, whether it's a sports performance or job performance or even self-value. You help somebody change who they think they are, and of course we think who we are by what we've experienced in our life and how we hold these experiences against ourselves, and we keep replaying the experiences. So like even with yourself, I remember when you first came to the seminars, you had a lot of problems.
I did, yeah, that's true.
And so now I see you now, you're a different person. And so I see changes like this all the time, where someone who is a friend of mine actually came in and he looked like he was near death. I mean, he said, Robert, I over 30 days, the psychiatrist has already given me 30 different antidepressants. And when I saw him, I mean, he looked horrible. And I said, well, come on in. He was on his last leg. He already had the noose hung up in his attic. He's ready to kill himself. And it's because of a divorce and job and all this stuff. And I just saw him just this last week, after we cleaned all this stuff up, and he's newly married. His life is completely different. And, he said, if it hadn't been for what you did for me 3 years ago, I would have been dead. And so these are common, but they're profound because, I get emails all the time from my YouTube videos where, wow, I've been in years of therapy and I heard more in this one video than I've heard all the therapy, or that now I no longer am addicted to the drug, or I like myself now, or I've lost weight, or any of these things, because all this stuff here has really changed me, because one, it changed how I view myself, and it changed how I help other people view themselves, and basically I help people see what they do within themselves and make themselves feel good or bad. and I show them how to change it, you know. So these are some of the big ones that I can just off the top of my head. Now my life personally
Yeah.
has completely changed. You know, if I would say what I'm doing today, 15 years ago, said, Robert, you're going to be doing this, this, and this, I said, yeah, right, that's not me. But over the years, addressing my own fears, my own emotional issues, my life is what I have now is because I figured out how to let go of what I held against me, which are my past memories, my past hurts, and my limited beliefs about myself.
So you would even say that this works on traumas and stuff like that, like you know, trauma events, whether it's emotional, mental, or even physical, for that
Absolutely.
matter.
Well, you know, you said there was a guy who's 83 years old, 84-year-old, something like that. He comes in, and he has post-traumatic stress, and this guy is sitting on my couch in my office, and he's telling me about this story, and he's crying, and he says, I can see the Jap, which was when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. I can see him in the plane. He said all my buddies were killed, and he's crying, and he was the only one that survived.
Okay.
And then not even 3 minutes later, I had him go back and tell me the story, and all of a sudden the pain was gone, the memory was completely changed, and he had complete peace.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
this trauma has been with him for I don't know, 60 years.
Right.
So here it is, and it took less than 3 minutes,
Nice.
because I understand how we do what within us and how to release the emotions and how we create it within us. And so within 3 minutes, 5 minutes, however long it took, it was completely gone.
So you would really say that emotions tie and bind us, basically.
Well, yeah.
Until we actually tap on it and actually heal that
Yeah.
part of ourselves and make
Yeah.
peace with ourselves.
Yeah, because of this tapping, it seems kind of weird. Tapping, that sounds weird, strange. Well, it is. But the tapping is really operating with our system, how our mind and our bodies work. Because whenever you can test it now, think about something that makes you feel good. Think of a good memory. And when you think about it, what will naturally occur, you think about it first, your body feels it. You feel good. And I say, well, think about something that bothers you. And you think about something, whatever it is, and as you think, your body begins to feel the bad feeling. Yet you can do it within seconds of each other. And it's operating within this system. Whatever the mind has, the body follows. Whatever you think, your body follows. So when you're operating within this system and you actually create a disruption between the bad memory inside your mind and the bad reaction in the body, if you we call it tapping, when you put a stop on that communication, the mind will no longer be able to produce it in the body, and the body will shift perception in the mind because you're not stressed, but you're at peace physically. The mental picture or the mental imagery will shift at the same time because the mind affects the body affects the mind. When you operate with this tapping, all it is a simple acupressure technique, but it shifts perception and the body's reaction.
So it's not acupuncture. It's actually acupressure.
It's just simple, something as simple as this. I mean,
Yeah.
it seems so bizarre, so simple, but yet profoundly effective.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not used, it's just this, just something as simple as this. But there's also an aim, like
Yeah.
you're internalizing, you're recognizing that you feel something, you see something, you hear something, and you're addressing that.
I don't know if you know a lot about superheroes. We're actually a superhero website, and we always ask a lot of people that we interview one particular question. What's your favorite superhero?
Yeah, that's a good question. I always think Superman, you know.
Yeah.
Superman, you know, or yeah, that's the first one that comes to my mind, you know. Superman, Batman, but Spider-Man. So I'd be a mix of all those, you know.
If you had to choose one, what would it be?
I think it'd be Superman, probably. Yeah, Superman. But he also conquered Kryptonite too.
Right.
So Kryptonite's gone. I'm Superman.
So, don't you think with all the EFT stuff that you do, helping people that you do, I would consider that a superpower, like a superpower by itself. You know.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
There's a lot of fulfilling, amazing stories that I've read online that that people that have actually presented you. I mean, me knowing you, and also me reading it online, of course, that you've helped many, many people, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
Including myself.
Definitely. I think I have a video on YouTube. I believe it's number 71, which is how to get rid of a headache.
Yeah.
And that is my most commented video, and the most common response is WTF, it worked.
Right.
So that's the most common response because it works without belief. And it does create changes in the mind and the body. So it's close to being a superhero. I call it real magic, you know.
Right.
My youngest son does magic tricks, and I do real magic. That means magic within the mind.
Wow.
And the mind will heal the body.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's very powerful. Well, in the very beginning of all of this, how did you first start to actually get into EFT and stress counseling and stuff like
Well,
that?
basically, you know, of course, I'm just like almost everyone else. I have problems, and I was married at the time. She had problems. My whole family all had problems.
Yeah.
And I just basically wanted to figure out how to help my family, and I have to help myself. And I started studying NLP. NLP is a study of the mind, how we internalize things, how we process the world. And from that model of thinking, I started grabbing other parts and pieces. So I bought the course on EFT. And then I've also studied hypnosis, also studied touch and breathe, Psych K, you name it. I studied it, Be Set Free Fast with Dr. Larry Nims, Tapas acupressure technique. And then I started creating my own style, creating my own processes, creating my own understanding. And from this, I began to not only help change my world, my family's life, but also help everybody else, because I have over 335 videos on YouTube, and basically it's all free information on how to change your life.
Nice.
And you get to do it.
That's awesome.
So I make a superhero for everybody.
That's
Everybody
really cool.
becomes their own superhero.
It's really empowering, and especially in my case. I mean, I went to Robert's seminars. My dad actually encouraged me to go to Robert's seminars, and I was a mess when I first started to actually come in here, and didn't really believe it. Argued against Robert a lot, and all of that stuff. But I mean, a lot of me was really resistant to all of that stuff. And in the very end of the class, I transformed my life. I found my purpose and got rid of a lot of the rejection issues. Even though they still kind of occurred, I got rid of a lot, like 80-95% of the rejection issues that I did feel growing up from people making fun of me for having, based on my bio that you guys have read on Lotus Comics, you guys know that I have epilepsy. So a lot of that stems from rejection and all of that stuff. And I got rid of a lot of those rejection issues just because I went to his class. Now, I mean, it's like the first step to acknowledge your problem, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And today, I'm very fulfilled. I have a purpose with my best friend, Lotus Comics, obviously. I view my viewers as well as very, very inspired by you, Mr. Smith. I mean, absolutely. I mean, what you do is absolutely inspirational. I'm a living testimony of that, you know?
Yeah, I have a lot of people who've watched your videos, and they could see the Chad, who was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And they say, well, what happened to Chad?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, Chad's completely changed. He's not the same kid. And I had somebody else that saw you at another meeting and said, Chad is completely different. He's a new kid. And it's because basically it wasn't just me, but it was you taking ownership and working on you.
Being more responsible.
You have to take full control of your life. And you get, again, it's all about taking control of your own life. And I'm very proud of you. You did a good job.
Thank you.
And that's the reason why I wanted you to come, because I wanted to see you again.
Well, I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the invitation. Your class is wonderful. For anybody that is in the same reality that I was, there is a way to get out of that. Robert Smith is one of the key experts at knowing how to get rid of stress, whether it's physicality, mentality, or emotional. I mean, you're not trapped where you're at, believe it or not. He's an expert in the field of relieving one's reality, whether it's pain, suffering, or disease. I mean, you guys ought to, I mean, there's got to be a website to go to, right?
Yeah,
if they want to, like, maybe schedule an appointment or something?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. I think the easiest place to find me would be robertsmith.com.
Okay.
And that's my name, Robert Smith. And I have the cure for you.
Well, very cool. Very cool. It was very much so a pleasure meeting you today.
Thank you.
And seeing you again.
Very good.
Guys, come see him. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm a living testimony of me changing my life. I mean, it was me that wanted to. Robert is the expert on how to get there, and he can help you in no matter what suited situation that you guys are in. whether you can explain it or not, believe it or not. But yeah, one more question. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
A superpower. What
Yeah.
would it be? I believe the superpower would be all-knowing.
All-knowing?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And inspiring.
Yeah,
Very genius of you.
very good. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for meeting with us. I appreciate you. Guys, come check them out. This is Lotus Comics, and this is Robert Smith. You've heard it here first. See you there.
See ya.